Tulifundishwa kilimo ya kulima au kupanda vitu vile za zamani za utamaduni zile za kudumu, na tukafundishwa, alafu tukapewa trainings, tukagawanywa, kikundi yetu inaenda kwa kikundi kingine, na tukawa na exchange program ya vikundi hizo 10. Tulianziwa na vile tunaweza kulima. Zamani tulikuwa tunalima tu, ni kuchimba na kupanda, na wengine tulikuwa tunatumia fertilizer. Lakini kikundi zetu sasa hicho kinaitwa Kiawahiga. Sasa tumejua kulima kilimo kipya kia utamaduni. Terere, managu, tuko na kasafa, tuko na yams, inaitwa yams, na nduma, arrowroot, na sweet potatoes. Hizo ndio muhimu sana tunatumia.
YAD as an organization has really benefited through trainings organized by PELUM. We've had our field extension officers receiving trainings through workshops organized by PELUM. And I can say that they have really capacity built the staff. We carry out trainings, on-farm trainings, on production using sustainable agriculture methods. We also train farmers on value addition and processing of indigenous farm produce. We also create awareness through the farmer groups on the value and the importance of the indigenous foods.
With increased production, consumption and a well-developed marketing system for indigenous, traditional and local foods like sorghum and amaranthus, commonly known as terere, our food heritage will be preserved and food situation contained.
I think there's a lot of change that has taken place in terms of attitude of the Kenyan people generally. Initially, I think most people used to imagine that traditional food is actually supposed to be eaten by the poor people, those who cannot afford to eat the so-called fast foods, because we all believed that fast foods were for the rich and the able. But over the years, I have seen that change of attitude, basically because of the awareness that has been created, especially by the media. And I think also the medical fraternity. People have realized that truly when you're able to afford, then you should be eating the traditional food, which is healthy.
It is healthy, there are no additives, there are no chemicals. We don't have to keep on worrying all the time, are you paying the doctor a visit? Again, it also helps us keep in touch or abreast of our traditions. This is a very dynamic world, things are changing so fast. So it's very, very important to preserve what is good.
PELUM Kenya aims at creating total awareness on value of indigenous, traditional and local foods at the community level, neighboring communities and at the national level. As a country, we have failed to take advantage of local biodiversity and diversity of climatic conditions that support it. We have allowed indigenous flora and fauna to disappear or reduce to near unviable populations as we clear the land for exotic and cash crops. While some indigenous foods are known to be bridging crops that assure food security in times of adverse weather, we are not planting them in sustainable quantities. While yet maize does not have this capacity and withers quickly when subjected to a short period of water stress.
Most of those indigenous food crops, if not all of them, do not necessarily require a lot of inputs in terms of fertilizers, in terms of the chemicals that may be used to make them produce better. But they are just naturally planted by the farmers, and then they are able to give yields. And I may say their yields are easy, and even tendering the crops, it's not as difficult as the exotic crops in comparison. Neither do they need a lot of input that can influence them to produce. So they are not induced to give yields, but they naturally give their yields. I may say that the output is quite reasonable in comparison to the input that you use to make them produce, or to the effort that a farmer may apply to get them to produce any kind of food. Their storage system is more or less of a natural system. Let's say, for example, you take a crop like sweet potato or yams or cassava. They have their tubers that are naturally found in the soil, and even if a farmer is not in the position to use it at one particular time, he can even postpone use of the same, even for a month or 2 months or 3 months, stored in the soil. So most of those crops, their storage system or facility is just almost natural, and then even if they're harvested, they can stay for a longer period without being utilized.
The annoying notion that everything indigenous is backward and that maize security is synonymous with food security makes us regard anything exotic as superior to indigenous material. This is killing our food sufficiency, and for this reason, poverty levels are escalating and we are becoming more and more dependent on food aid. There is no freedom in hunger, and adopting GMOs is not going to solve our food agenda.
I think we need to realize that with the growing food insecurity in most of the regions, the best alternative that we have now is go back to the traditional, local and indigenous foods, because these are foods that withstand adverse climatic conditions with the changing climate. And we also need to promote the producers, by marketing and eating their foods, because that is the only way we are going to ensure that our country is food secure. The scientists have to come in now and help us analyze all the foods and their nutritional contents, so that even the foods that are of medicinal importance or therapeutic importance are categorized accordingly, and we can be able to analyze these to the consumers, so that we continue building the confidence of the consumers.
There is never going to be food sufficiency in this country without food sovereignty, which is a combination of factors starting from seed acquisition, planting and management right, all the way to harvesting and post-harvesting handling.